Please welcome to the stage Chakravarthy Nalamotu representing the Center for Liberty.
Morning, everybody. I know it's probably all traveled, 7 seas and long distances from all over different continents. What brings us all together, the common thread, as Lyle had mentioned in his opening remarks, is freedom. What we all are passionate about is freedom. What we all fight for is freedom. Our destiny is freedom. It's a very important, life-changing philosophy. For 2,500 years ago, Lao Tzu, a philosopher from China, has observed that when government withdraws from actively managing a society, somehow prosperity seems to kick in. He was probably the first philosopher of freedom. Adam Smith, as you all know, gave a prescription for nations to get wealthy, and his prescription was, thank you. We can. It's not a swear word. What brought us all here today is freedom. You guys would not have traveled this far for freedom. So again, the great philosopher, the great economist who brought economics to masses, again, Milton Friedman, again a champion of freedom. Some of you know, here our objective is, Ayn Rand is probably the first one who put the entire philosophy of freedom into one grand work. A lot of work has been done, and it is a difficult work, it is challenging work. And as you all know, the American commentator Charlie Kirk has been shot dead. We've heard from Nepal the challenges people are facing. So these are real serious issues. Quickly share my experience. In 2011, I wrote a book on fairly polarizing political movement. By then I was living in the United States for almost 2 decades. I came to India to release a book and I was physically assaulted, which motivated me to move back with my family. And since then, it's almost 14 years now, I've been a crusader against corruption, a champion of capitalism, free markets, free trade. And I have no idea, I forgot the count of how many times I've been arrested. It's an important cause for all of us. And I'm glad you are all here. I've been associated with Atlas for nearly a year and a half, and it is doing a phenomenal work, especially in Asia and Africa. It is a solution to poverty, misery, disease, corruption, tyranny. We have an answer. That I'll quickly segue into what I wanted to talk about since I don't have 8 minutes. Libertarianism as an ideology, or freedom, philosophy of freedom, has been baked. The product has been ready for hundreds of years. Maybe Lao Tzu did not have it fully structured, but at least father of modern economics, Adam Smith, gave it a decent enough definition. Yet the philosophy struggles to make a headway in the current world that we live in. And I partially believe it's because of the challenges in communicating. I feel we have a great product, but we don't have a good go-to-market strategy. good marketing strategy, good sales strategy, talking business terms. As you can clearly see, the proof is in the pudding. Liberalism had brought immense prosperity to this part of the continent. If you look at Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, South Korea, China, to a limited extent in India, it has brought immense prosperity. Yet we have difficulty selling it. We have difficulty selling it in North America, we have difficulty selling it in Europe, we have difficulty selling it in Asia, despite having overwhelming evidence. And if you look at the other side, the evidence for its failure is equally overwhelming. North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, we just can go on and on. Whole number of countries that were under Soviet Union era, East Germany, Poland. There's just no end to the list. Cuba. Yet we have difficulty pushing the ideology. And as Ira was saying, we all have different flavors of this philosophy. There's classical liberals, they're objectivists, they're Austrians, they're anarcho-capitalists. I think the focus now, as Lyle has said, what should we stop? What should we continue to do? I don't think we should stop, but I think there should be less emphasis on the differences between libertarian ideology, but the more emphasis on how we sell it to masses. And Daniel Kahneman has done groundbreaking research in psychology, which kind of explains why libertarian ideology is hard to sell, which he calls System 1 and System 2. Basically, System 1 is heuristics, the loud, simplistic messages that we hear, that the politicians make, which are very easy to sell. System 2 requires more in-depth understanding, looking into the process, looking into the steps, which is called deliberate, conscious, requiring intentional effort, which is basically libertarian ideologies. Politicians, if you are poor, I'll give you money. If you are starving, I'll give you food. I'll give you free education. I'll give you free healthcare. It's very easy, that's System 1. Libertarians go into analysis paralysis. We try to explain everything through 8, 9 different steps. The System 1 is prevalent even at the highest levels. Geoffrey Hinton got Nobel Prize. It's fascinating. He's considered one of the fathers of AI, one of them, of artificial intelligence. Even in his Nobel speech, he was talking about how capitalism is going to harm the society when artificial intelligence takes over. It's a brief clip I played.
We're talking about having a huge increase in productivity, so there's going to be more goods and services for everybody, so everybody ought to be better off. But actually it's going to be the other way around, and it's because we live in a capitalist society. And so what's going to happen is, this huge increase in productivity is going to make much more money for the big companies and the rich, and it's going to increase the gap between the rich and the people who lose their jobs.
Artificial intelligence, as Geoffrey Hinton says, can do a lot of harm to the society because it's a capitalist system. And it will increase the income disparity, it will make rich the richer and poor the poorer. And I'm not talking about some low-level politician making these statements. This is at the highest levels of intellectual capability. And that's System 1. He has not dug through deeper. And to just give you a quick example of what he actually meant is, I'll give you an example of Ignite Tech, which had laid off 80% of its employees by adopting artificial intelligence. And its income has gone up by 75%. And that's exactly what Geoffrey Hinton is talking about. And that's System 1, it stops there. But you got to go a step further. Yes, they have laid off 80% of their employees. Yes, their income has gone up by 75%, but what happens to that money? If we look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, where is their wealth stocked in? It's not under their mattress. In fact, I looked it up before coming here. Almost 90% of it is in stocks. What does it mean? Their money is working to make our lives better. Every one of the names I mentioned, they're starting more companies with the wealth that they generate from the products that they're building. What Hinton misses is, like Ignite Tech CEO, the company's income has gone up, but that income doesn't get consumed, it gets reinvested. And that's a problem of system too. And it's not just a Nobel laureate like Hinton, even Bill Gates talking about it. Bill Gates, I don't know how many of you have heard, has given time and again these statements saying robots must be taxed because they take away people's jobs. When Microsoft came, when they came up with Microsoft Word and Excel, I remember in India, I'm not even talking about Western countries, a lot of typist jobs, people used to get, young women used to get jobs where they used to type. All the jobs were gone. The small accountants in the offices, their jobs were gone. And the same Bill Gates is advocating. And the reason I take their names is because they're big figures, global figures, with a lot of following, a lot of respect. Yet, they are victims of system one, which they don't go deeper into understanding what it is. Same thing with Einstein. You all know Einstein wrote a paper, and he actually says capitalist society as it exists today is a source of evil. Is a source of evil. This was Einstein saying. And this is where I think heuristic messaging is important. I think libertarians should now focus more on selling. It's a small experiment. And most importantly, I think libertarians have a role to play in policy change and in politics. I don't think we should run away. We have a very important role because our ideology brings not only prosperity, but ends misery around the globe. And it's profound in its influence and its impact. And towards that effect, we are planning to make an entry next year into mainstream of the politics with the hope that we'll make a headway. And I'll be around. Hopefully, I'll be attending future sessions and I'll keep you all posted. And thank you once again for this fantastic opportunity given by Atlas Network and for the great work they're doing. I commend. Thank you.